Hi ladies and gentlemen, my name's Tony Conway from Premier Painting Company. Today I'd like to present to you a short webinar on choosing the right painting company. Outcomes from today: you will get a good understanding of your painting project objectives, an understanding of the meaning of scope of works and product specifications, a good understanding on who to engage to obtain a scope of works and product specifications. You'll learn how to choose the right painting company, the importance of quality assurance, the role of colour consultant, getting your compliance nailed, and the process from sourcing to onboarding. First of all, the process: you need to find your reasons for painting. Then you need to know who to call to get a scope of works and product specification. You learn about the role of consultants, how to source a reputable painting company, what to look out for when sourcing, what to avoid and be wary of. Compliance onboarding, quality assurance and technical consultants. First of all, your reasons for painting. It's always best to involve as many of the owner's corp as possible to determine your reasons for painting. Could be many reasons for painting. These could include just a refresh or a colour change, just maybe time for a repaint. Repairs in general maintenance. Could starting to look a bit tired and just need some maintenance, and at the same time get a repaint done. It could be time for a complete update with renovations to bring your building more contemporary maybe. Could need protection and membranes applied. Could be an annual maintenance system you're looking for, or it could be a combination or all of the above. So once you've discussed your reasons for painting and worked out your reasons, the next thing you need is a scope of works and product specifications. Now, scope of works details exactly which areas and surfaces require painting. For example, on an interior, a block of units, it may be the foyers. So you may want to detail exactly what areas you want painted in foyers, ground 1, 2, and 3. So it'd list the areas, the foyers, and it'd list ceilings, walls, unit doors, service doors, skirting, door trims, any other areas which you require painting. So it tells you the areas and the surfaces in them areas which require painting. Now, product specification details which products to use and how to apply them and where to apply them. So an example in that situation would be on the doors, we may want an oil-based undercoat followed by 2 coats of gloss enamel. On the ceilings, we may want spot prime and 2 coats of acrylic ceiling flat. So product specification would detail exactly which products to use and where to use them and how many coats to use. So who do we call for a scope of works and product specs? We've made this little chart here. On the left there, it just tells you the lower risk of the project or the reason to the higher risk. And on the right tells you who you can call to obtain what you're looking for. So the first one, very low risk. You may just need a product specification because you're just going to do some repainting in a common area. In that situation, you just call a manufacturer's rep or a colour consultant or a painter. They can come out and issue you with a product specification. If you're looking for a refresh and colour change, the ideal person there will probably be a colour consultant or your reputable painter. If you know you've got a few minor repairs and general maintenance, probably the ideal person there would be a technical paint consultant or a reputable painter. I'll talk more about technical paint consultant shortly. If you're looking for a complete repaint, update with renovations, the ideal there maybe would be an architect with a bit of design input, or a technical paint consultant or a reputable painter. Annual maintenance, we could go for all of the above really, depending on how much maintenance is required doing. So you could go for a structural engineer, an architect, technical paint consultant or a reputable painter. If you know you've got structural repairs and you're going to get them repaired along with a complete repaint, the ideal person is a structural engineer. Architect technical paint consultant or a reputable painter can help you out a bit. If you're gonna, you want the application of protective membranes. Maybe you have water ingression, etc. You need to protect your building. You need a structural engineer, an architect, technical paint consultant, or a reputable painter. Now, I've put down reputable painter on all those because if you've got a good relationship and you've got a reputable painter, a very experienced painter, they can advise you on pretty much all of these things. But if you like to keep your contractor, or you don't have a contractor preferred, and you want to keep it at arm's length, you best engage one of the above, either rep, paint consultant, structural engineer, architect, etc. They will how to help you out there. The role of consultants, colour consultants, pretty straightforward, can advise you on all your colour schedules and most products, mainly used if it's just a cosmetic update or a colour change, interior or exterior. They can offer you colour renders, whereby they take a picture of your building and they can Photoshop the different colour schedules they're proposing onto the picture, so you can see your building in the colours that have been proposed to see whether you like it or not. Very good way of choosing your colours. We always recommend using a credit colour consultant to produce 2 different colour schemes, then ask the committee to vote on one or the other. Make sure you have finalised finishes schedule signed. Make sure you have a finishes schedule signed off by the body corporate prior to starting the job. So what we usually do in this situation, we'd get a colour consultant involved. They would come out to meet the owners corp on site and have a look at the building, look at the environment, discuss with the owners corp what they're trying to achieve. Are they looking to get a more contemporary looking building, or are they looking to maintain its historical integrity? And then they will put together 2 schedules, an A and a B schedule, and then you can ask the committee to vote on either A or B. Otherwise, if you get too many people involved in that decision, you will never come to a conclusion. Little tip, make sure you get the finishes schedule once one's been voted on, to get it signed off by the body corporate prior to starting the project. It's usually a good idea at this point to get your painting contractor, if you've chosen one, to put some samples up well before the project commences, to flush out any colour issues that may occur. Because if they occur during a project, there's a variation to cost usually. It could be made for scaffold hire, downtime, etc. So the role of consultants continuing. Paint consultants. These are being used more and more these days as they specialise in painting and minor repairs. They're typically a painting professional who has vast experience in all types of painting systems and methods, and can advise you on any technical requirements you may need for your painting project. They can offer project management services as well, which should include condition reports, scope of works, product specifications. They can obtain quotes from different contractors for you. They can issue the contract. They can administrate the progress payments. Very good having someone checking the work before the progress payments are paid. So it's a great service. They can do quality assurance reports. And probably the most important one is the finalisation of project report. They're perfect where the repairs are relatively minor or the major component of a project is painting and not remedial repairs. Probably the best time to choose a paint consultant. They're more cost effective than an engineer. I think typically a paint consultant will charge you between 8 and 10% of the project price to project manage the jobs for you, whereby an engineer or an architect typically between 15 and 20%. So they're more cost effective. The role of consultants, structural engineers. Structural engineers are best to get in place for larger projects, such as complete exterior repaints with structural repairs. It's advisable to engage an engineer to carry out a complete inspection of your building and issue you a condition report documenting any identifiable repairs and existing coating conditions, whether the existing coatings are delaminating, peeling off, why that might be happening. If they do a complete report on your building, they will identify what they've seen as repairs, and they will also scope out exactly what they require to have them repairs fixed up in the correct manner and what products to use to do the repairs in the correct manner. This report can also specify which products, systems and methods should be used to carry out the repairs and repainting to comply with the Building Code of Australia. This report can also include your WHS responsibilities along with a proposed contractor's obligations. It may also comprise of a contractor works to make sure the strata plan is protected by the Home Building Act. The engineer can also carry out the tender process for you by recommending reliable trade companies that are suitable for your project. Once a suitable painting company has been procured, the engineer can also provide project management service, much like the technical consultant, whereby they will run the project for you, carry out all the checks to ensure the project is completed as per specification. Very important. So, how do you source a reputable painting company? You need to hire a reputable painting company that can manage and work with engineers, paint consultants, third-party trades and strata managers, along with colour consultants. There are many, many painting companies out there. Some of them do not like being directed by an engineer or a paint consultant, or a colour consultant for that matter. So you need to find a painting company that have worked with engineers, paint consultants and third-party trades. Sometimes you've got scaffolders coming in, putting scaffold up, abseilers on site, etc., etc. Your painter needs to be able to work in with these parties, these third parties. Choose a paint company who are well established and fully experienced in the strata industry. Specialise in the type of works required, i.e. if you're in a multi-storey building and you need abseiling scaffolding, make sure the company you choose have testimonials in this area and references in this area. Make sure they've got references for remedial repairs, quality interiors, work with colour consultants, etc. These are all questions you should be asking. Always check your company has accreditations, license, ABN, insurances, testimonials. Call any references you can. Check with industry associations, such as Master Painters of New South Wales or Dulux accredited for reputable painters. They'll always issue you a list with painters who they recommend for that type of project. A good tip here, good place to start for all your works is to visit the Strata Community Australia New South Wales website, the SCA. Check out the trades directory here. This is full of service companies of all sizes who specialise in strata works. There's a section there of strata service specialist companies who have all completed the strata service specialist course and are extremely experienced in strata projects. If you look at this small logo up the top here, that's a strata service specialist company. So when you go to the directory, you will see that next to a company's name, that is a strata service specialist company. They are very experienced in strata works. What to look out for when sourcing? Shortcuts to look out for. Cheaper brands of paints or mixed brands, very important. What people write down on their quote or their proposal needs to be checked that they're carrying it out. They need, if they put down they're going to use Dulux or Taubmans or Wattle paint or Resine paint, they need to be using all their paints under that manufacturer, not mixing brands. Sometimes a painter may have some old undercoats left over from another job from a different brand. They may use them just to use them up. But what happens if there's an issue later on and either brand finds out that their whole system, their undercoat and their top coats has not been used together in conjunction, they will disown and not warranty the system. So it's important that your painter names the brands and names which products of that brand he's going to use. Preparation levels. Don't be afraid at time of quoting. Don't be afraid to say, can you allow to have some hold points? I want to see preparation being carried out and I want a hold point after preparation's been done, i.e. maybe the washing down or the sanding and preparing areas, undercoating. Don't be afraid to ask for hold points. Any reputable painting company would facilitate this, not a problem. Paint film thickness levels. This is probably a bit too much to ask an owner's corp to manage. You might need to get a paint consultant, paint specialist consultant or an architect or engineer to do this. It's a fairly simple process. You can ask your painter to show you this yourself. It's a small gauge which measures the wet paint film thickness. On a paint specification, it will identify how many coats of paint are required, but it will also tell you how thick each coat of paint should be. So if you've got documentation showing that the paint's going on at the right thickness on every coat, you're going to be covered by your warranty. WHS shortcuts, third-party contractors' details. Make sure your contractor is working to his WHS obligations, what is listed in his proposal. If he said he's going to get permits, you want to see permits. If he said he's going to have licenses, you need to see licenses. You need to see third-party contractors' licenses. Some painting companies use painting contractors even. So you need to make sure everyone who's working on you has got the license relevant to their trade. On-site amenities is another one which can catch you out. Some buildings have on-site amenities, have a spare bathroom. Others don't. Some have one, but they wouldn't like the contractors to use it. This needs to be worked out prior to the project starting. And if you do not wish or you do not have on-site amenities, let your contractor know and ask them to allow to supply their own amenities. Otherwise, that can cause you problems further down the track. Little tip here would be always get a schedule of costs listed with the quotation at the time of quoting. Once you're getting closer to picking your contractor, ask them to give you a list of costs in case you come across any variations. So you want a list before they start work, before you've actually engaged them. You want a list of how much it costs per day per painter, how much a square meterage rate is for render or square or literage rate, as some people use, for render repairs. How much is scaffold cost today per hut to hire? You need to know these things and you need them in writing beforehand. So if variations do occur during the project, you'll have a good idea of what the costing should be, and you're not going to be locked into disproportionate amounts for repairs. At the time of quoting, you will get the best prices here from your contractor. Once the project's underway, you're not going to get their best prices. So a tip there is get a list of costs, schedule of costs in case there happens to be variations. And then you know you're going to be what you're going to be up for if you do come across the problem. Okay, compliance and onboarding. Once a contractor has been chosen, you need a copy of the following: license, ABN, public liability insurance, workers' comp insurance, home building compensation scheme for jobs over 20,000 if they're residential, a SWIMS, safe work method statement, along with a risk assessment. Also a signed contract, preferably the SCA Strata Works agreement. We use these all the time. They're a very good agreement. They're designed for strata managers by strata lawyers. They're electronic digital, so you can fill them in and email them with no problem. Very good contract. I'd recommend them. So now you've selected your painter, the job's commenced. How do we ensure quality control? Well, at Premier Painting, how we ensure quality control on larger jobs, we engage a technical paint consultant. So they come on as a third-party consultant and they will ensure all our compliance is being met for your project. So they will, we use companies like Paint Consult, Paint Solutions, etc. They will carry out the following service to give you peace of mind that your project is being carried out correctly as per regulations and of course safely. A typical system is as follows. They will inspect the works at times identified by the painter to monitor preparation, types of paint being used, the quality and application of paints being used, i.e. the paint film thicknesses, etc. The compliance with the accepted specification. Are we applying paint in the right weather conditions, for example? Is it too hot? Is it too cold? All of these things matter and can cause you problems later down the track if they're not being abided to. Are we abiding by the WHS requirements of the safe work, agreed safe work method statement? Site inspections by the consultant can also be controlled by identifiable hold points, so the completion and preparation of an elevation of a building or sectional priming and sealing areas. respected areas. We actually use these to trigger progress payments. For example, if we're on a building and 4 elevations, north, south, east and west, we will schedule our progress payments on completion of, say, the northern elevation. So we will get a consultant to come in, inspect our work and write a report on each elevation, saying that it's all been, all the specifications been adhered to correctly and it's been applied correctly. Therefore, he recommends that that progress payment be released. So it's a great way with holding up any arguments with the OC and the painting contractor, get a third party to trigger the progress payments. Preparation of the final schedule and detail areas and services to be attended to prior to contract being claimed as completed. This is a very important report. So before the job's claimed as complete, the technical consultant do go around and do a full inspection of the project and look out for any detail in ECs should be completed. He will look out to rectify any defects he sees, list any defects he sees, even down to clearing of site, making sure rubbish is cleared away, etc., etc. So it's a great document to have, and I welcome these documents being a business owner, because it keeps us on our toes and makes sure we deliver the best service possible. All the inspections would be minuted along with photographic records, before and after pictures, and will be used to assist, in our case, Premier Painting Company, in preparation of a paint manual on completion of the project, which provides photographic records, copies of the specification, copies of the contract, the processes, the colours used in this most recent repainting project, together with recommendations for future cost-saving painting maintenance. So we issue our clients with a paint manual at the end of the job, with all these reports and schedules listed and documented, so that the owners corp know they've got peace of mind that the job was carried out as per specification and correctly. So all warranties are in place, etc., etc. So the owners corp have done their job and fulfilled their obligations to their building, that they've done all they can to ensure the project is gone to plan. Webinar recap. So you should have a bit of an idea now of your reasons for painting, garner your reasons for painting. That starts off the whole project. Who to call and how to obtain a scope of works and product specification. You've got a better idea of the role of consultants and how they can help you with your project. How to source a reputable painting company. You know what to look out for when sourcing, what to avoid and be wary of, and compliance onboarding, what you need to check. Quality assurance and technical consultants, how you can guarantee your quality assurance. I'd like to thank you for your time today, and should you have any advice, require any advice or further information, have any questions, please don't hesitate to call Premier Painting on 1300 91 6291, or call me directly on the mobile 0412 056 628. Thank you very much for listening. Hope to see you all soon.